Hi, everybody. How you doing?
Hey, Sam.
Very good. How about you?
I'm doing better. I'm glad I could be here some way virtually.
Well, good. Glad you are. So we'll start this meeting of the tree board for January 7th, 2026. Does anybody have a short reflection, something that's been burning in their mind for the last month they'd like to share? I saw something. I heard something on the radio and I just caught my attention. I thought it was interesting. You probably heard it too. Has to do with monkey puzzle trees. I guess that we have at least our share of them in this area. We have a good representation of them here.
They're planted reasonably commonly, but they're not native.
Yeah, and that's the story, I guess. They were at the World's Fair in 1962. The Chilean exhibition, I think it was Chile, maybe Peru, but I think Chile, was giving them out as gifts to people who visit their pavilion at the World's Fair.
That explains why there's so many that are about that age.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not a lot of younger ones. They have
Yeah.
been-
They're the weird ones that actually look like cell phone towers.
The ones that try to look like trees, yeah.
They do relatively well here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But they grow in a similar climate in Chile and Argentina.
I noticed when we were in Victoria many years ago doing a jump on, jump off in the city, there was quite a few multi puzzle trees in Victoria that we saw. But anyway,
They were not very nice trees.
they're ferocious.
Up close, and they're not very nice, but they have a
They're
lovely
beautiful
form.
from distance, for distance, but up
As a
close.
coda to that, we only have young ones in this country because they grow to 600 or 800 years of age.
Yeah.
So we don't have anything over 100 here, say, probably not even that. And they take on a remarkably different growth form as they get older. So most of the ones you see in Seattle are sort of typical conifer shape, right?
Oh, yeah.
A spire with shorter branches at the top and longer ones as you go down. But when you see the old ones in Patagonia, they cease growing upwards and they become an umbrella. So the lower branches die off. They no longer,
Is that right?
Stacy's got a good picture.
Yeah.
They tend to not elongate so much at the growing tip. But the upper branches continue to grow out, they sort of sag. So you get this umbrella form to them.
Is that without being pruned, or is that when they're?
That's without being pruned, that's just in nature. I don't know why they lose that. Strong terminal growth. It may just be that. It's hard to sustain it when you get to be old and tall.
And the oldest one is 800 years.
In Chile, South America, somewhere.
Chile or Argentina, I think.
Yeah.
Well, they look prehistoric to me.
Yeah.
Is there any reason to
So the
believe they are
tree
an older
called,
type of tree?
that's often grown as an indoor houseplant here called the Norfolk Island pine.
Okay.
That's in the same genus, but it's from South Pacific.
They're more
Much
indoor.
smaller needles.
Yeah.
Right,
They don't lacerate you just from walking about 2 feet away from them,
yeah.
which,
But the oldest is a baby compared to the bristlecone pine, which is like 4,800 years old.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was just an interesting little factoid about them. Got me thinking, I guess, about the power of tree giveaways. That's some kind of tree you wanted to sport or.
The great segue.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you for indulging my memories. Quick introductions, just around the table with our names, I think, Richard.
I'm Dick Olmsted, soon to be retiring board member. I think next month is my last meeting, or March, I'm not sure.
I think the 28th next month specifically, so you'll be here the next meeting.
Yes.
Stacy.
I'm about to wrap up 2 years. Oh, my name is Stacy Spain. About to wrap up 2 years on the tree board, thanks to Dick.
Okay,
That's
good.
it.
Richard Saunders. Mark informed me this week that the term that I inherited is ending February, but I hope to renew.
And, yeah, good.
Doug Strugel, my term is ending a year from now.
That's good. That's good. That's good. You'll be here. Mark Phillips, currently the chair until 28th of next month, I guess. I guess through the next meeting, I was wondering about that. But, and also I noticed that my term, it got me by surprise, is expiring, right, 28th of next month. So
That sort of caught us all by surprise a couple of years ago, I think, when we were looking at, I was trying to figure out terms. And each position on the board has a term. Right, it doesn't start when the person joins the board, it starts when that rolls over every 3 years, and
yeah, I noticed it's hard.
some people join in the first year or second year or third year of a term. Seems odd.
Anyway, I'm hoping also to reapply for the position. So Mark, there'll be some, and Sam, there'll be some more paperwork to do.
No worries.
Yeah, but
I'm Kyle Gotti. I am joining the board. I've received the recommendation for appointment by Mayor French, and I just will be attending a council meeting coming up. And then I should be a part of the board.
Welcome.
Thank you.
that would be great.
Hi, I'm Larry Goldman, council member liaison to the tree board. So I believe you're coming to the January 22nd meeting. So it'll give me 2 weeks to come up with some devilish questions to grill you on.
Oh, yeah, the council's really hard on people who want to volunteer. Yeah.
Larry, monkey.
Yeah. Gotta be listening.
Yeah.
I'm Victoria Kutas. I'm coming up on 2 years. Same as Stacy on the board.
Elizabeth Talavera, associate planner with the city, stepping in for Sam, but here in person.
Trying to phase out.
That's okay.
Sam.
Yes, I'm Sam Call, urban forest planner. Just remote today. Just feeling I was sick this past week, so finally coming back from PTO, and yeah.
Good. Well, we're glad you were able to sit up in bed and join us. Thank
Thanks
you.
for not exposing us.
Right, yeah. Mr.
And,
Hoffman,
Mark Hoffman, Community Development Director.
thank you for coming tonight, Mark.
Thank you for the invite.
So we have an agenda that you've seen that really talks about that, or any adjustments that need to be made.
As discussed in email, moving new member updates to the beginning of old business so that Mark can enjoy his evening if he would like.
Yes, very good. So we'll take that on first in our business items. All right, is there a motion to approve? We'll move. And a second? Second. Approved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
That's right. Practice.
You practice.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We don't have minutes for this meeting. I guess that's owing to your schedule, Sam, and being out of it for a period. So we'll take those up at our next meeting. I don't know if there's anything, as you've been looking at those, you've probably been paying more attention to them than the rest of us. If there's anything that needs our attention tonight, feel free to bring it up. But otherwise, we'll take those up at our meeting in February. Now, public comments. Who would make a public comment if they so wished?
Would you like to say
If you
anything?
don't have to say, I don't.
No, not right now.
Thank you. Reports and announcements. What do we have here? Anything to report? I have one little item I'd just like to report. You see this little flyer I put around the table? This it's an initiative that the Climate Hub is starting and is going to try to do with climate conversations from time to time. And they're starting the first one on this Saturday at 10:30 in the Commons with the people speaking that you see there. And so anyway, that's good. Your attendance would be welcome if you're able to join them for that. Anything else by way of announcements?
Very brief, council will be having our first council meeting tomorrow evening. We will be welcoming 2 new council members. Well, technically 1 brand new and 1 who joined last December. But basically starting the year off with them. And then, yeah, Kyle will be interviewing you for the tree board on the 22nd, and then I will leave it to Sam to talk about other stuff later on in the agenda.
And we're just gonna jump into that right now. I think maybe not on members, but yeah.
One question, I believe you had mentioned last time that with new members joining, you would be reassessing who's the liaison to various things. Are we going to be losing you or do we get to keep you for a while longer? Do you know yet?
We're gonna be having that discussion tomorrow at our work session. Because we will also need liaisons to the Parks Board and the Planning Commission. Those are both vacant. In addition, Vice Council, Deputy Mayor, Vice Chair, Budget Chair. There's a number of things, and so my expectation is to stay on with the tree board, but it'll also, yeah, be waiting to see kind of where if there's other dominoes.
Good to know.
Anything else to report or announce? Well, let's move into our business agenda then, and we agreed we'll take item D, new member updates first. And I guess I shared with you, I think, a link to the information about the two folks who are going to be almost certainly confirmed tomorrow night at the council meeting. Ross.
No, everybody knows about that.
Tomorrow night or Thursday night or next night?
Yes. Yeah, that'll be Minda Martin and Ross Benson are tomorrow, and then Kyle will be on the 22nd.
I saw. Okay. So we're suddenly in good shape in terms of members. That's very good. I appreciate the work that you've been doing, Mark and Sam and others. I know you've been interviewing people. I know the folks tomorrow night, if you saw that, Ross Barslag Benson, somebody that I've worked with on a number of projects, and Richard knows him well, and he'll be a great addition to the board. It was the one who asked him to apply. Very good, very good. And Minda Martin, the name was so familiar, and I just couldn't place it until I thought that I did meet her once. She invited several people from the stream keepers to come by and look at her property. She lives near the headwaters of Sheridan Creek, and she was interested and she was doing some quite a bit of riparian restoration there. I had a very nice visit with her, and so I'm pleased that she's going to be joining us too. So that's great.
So who's going to be becoming a board member? Who's going to be becoming an alternate?
Well, let's talk to Mark about that. Did you hear that question, Mark? It was how does that fall out in terms of regular members and alternates? But I also asked you if you could come tonight and just share with us a bit about the process that the city goes through to get from the application stage to the confirmation stage. That's possible.
It's both. Thank you, Mark Hoffman. It's both formal and informal. Small town. The formal part is hopefully on your screen there. And what we discovered in November, December is that it says the word minimum. And I think I'm covering that up. Let me move that. So a minimum of 7. So that gives some flexibility. Doesn't say maximum. At some point it becomes unwieldy. So I think that's how the city's been operating. It also has a clause that says you can add up to 2 additional members that don't reside or own property in the city. That's not the case. But going off the minimum, the city clerk forwarded 3 candidates to us. December was crazy busy, but before the holiday, we wanted to get a head start, jump on January for appointments. And so Sam and I scheduled interviews with the 3 candidates. All were highly qualified. One is sitting right there next to you. And we are very grateful. So we hoped in our recommendation to the mayor that all 3 would be appointed. And so the words on the agenda Thursday night are appointed member and then alternate. To me, it makes no difference. In some cases, alternates can't vote, right? But in this case, there is no guidance. So for me, the roles are the same. You could take it 2 ways. An alternate is aware of the functions, but only sits in a regional meeting when the appointed member is absent. In this case, there's nothing in this chapter that says that. So we're reading it as more hands and more perspectives with a common interest in trees and tree preservation in the community is a good thing. So we brought forward all three applicants. They were accepted. Then we went away for a vacation, came back and sat with the city clerk to formalize the agenda. He reached out to see the availability. I wasn't sure if it was required for the candidate to be there. But the thought was that the council likes to see the face and ask some questions, not pressure filled by any means, and then confirm the mayor's appointment. So that brings us to right now. And as the administrator of the tree board, or our department administers the tree board, we're very comfortable with having 9 members. We haven't asked about more. We don't anticipate or know about any emergency vacancies. We hope that anyone that wants to continue can be reappointed. And so I look forward to a good year with 9 members.
Alternates then.
With me stepping down,
It should be
at the end of August, that would just be 8. Or end of
February.
February.
Yeah, so I think the number is 8 actually going forward after February. I don't know, even number, odd number, I don't know that necessarily needs to be an issue. Sometimes it is in some forums, but don't have very many.
We've been 6 for.
We've been fixed.
Yeah,
And then
too long.
Larry, go ahead.
So just my perspective, because when council voted on adding alternates to all the boards, is that in the informal sense, the alternates would have the same conversations, everyone sitting around the table having the conversations. And so whether someone's a member or an alternate is irrelevant in that sense. As for voting, in my 4 years as liaison, I don't think I've ever seen a divided vote among the tree board. So I wouldn't worry about it. In a formal sense, it could be that the alternate would not vote unless any one of the other 7 members was absent that day, in which case they would be the 7th. But again, since I don't foresee any sharply divided 4-3 votes coming up through the tree board. So in a sense, it's a distinction that doesn't really mean a whole lot.
And to add some more just structure to it, the tree board is a recommending body, advisory body, highly skilled, highly educated, and there usually is consensus. And by voting, it most often is a motion or a consensus or a recommendation. It's not quasi-judicial in the sense that you're approving a project or an application or anything of that nature. It's very much less formal than even the planning commission. And a lot of their duties are left to the hearing examiner. But there are instances where they have formal votes and their advisory body as well. Tree board, I think, has the flexibility to work together and operate at 8-9 equals for most things that'll be on the agenda.
Is there any reason to have somebody designated as an alternate, or why don't just abandon the term alternate?
That was my question too.
Yeah.
It seems like it's not even necessary.
So the council's perspective when we made this ordinance a couple of years ago was we wanted to have a bench. So like we didn't want there to be 7 people on a board and then one person steps down and now there's a vacancy and you don't have that institutional knowledge. This way you could have someone waiting in the wings. So that was our intent. I don't think we realized that the language says minimum of 7 as opposed to exactly 7. But in terms of what the council was going for, it was just so that there's someone who's been attending these meetings regularly, and then someone else steps down for whatever the reason, they're ready to go.
So do you think there's any interest in the council in raising that issue about the status of alternates or not alternates?
I could bring it up at the next leadership meeting.
Well, then if that's certainly more than our board in terms of, and other commissions and bodies might have.
Well, the other document out there is the volunteer commissioner committee handbook. Right? It's adopted, it's policy, but it doesn't rise to the level of municipal code. So I think what is envisioned is absolutely consistent with municipal code. That's formally adopted by ordinance. Then the handbook's adopted, and it's more of a guideline. Should we adhere to it? Sure, but it allows flexibility. So I don't know there's a need to amend it, but it's certainly open to discussion if somebody has a concern or an issue that leads to an amendment.
Do we have to amend anything though? Why don't we just have an 8-member board? Appoint these 3 people to the board?
That's my perspective. That's my hope.
Yeah,
That's the way we will function, it sounds like.
Yeah, I want to make it official.
Yeah.
If
Well,
we're being picky, the agenda for council tomorrow does say that, I think it says Ross is being appointed to fill a position and then Minda is being appointed as an alternate. I could amend that to say that we want to count, if that's the sense and the will of the tree board, I can make up an amendment tomorrow to the motion saying that we want them to both count as members.
How do we feel about that?
Yes,
Yes.
I agree with Doug. I think that if I was joining the tree board, I would want to be joining as a full member. But votes and
There's no reason anybody should be designated as having second-class status. That's exactly what you're saying.
If I don't see any reason not to suggest that amendment tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
You have a consensus of our.
And then it's the same thing for 2 weeks from now,
What,
another full member.
yes. So what does this say about future applicants, I wonder? If we would be at 8 people as of February, and I don't know, one question I wonder is there are any other applications in the pipeline now that you're aware of, or I imagine even if we're not pushing membership, there will be occasionally people applying.
Yeah. Yeah, occasional interests, and these are the 3 that we knew about, and so we grouped them together, and all are greatly qualified, and I think we're able to do this. I don't think it's a competition that we have 7 candidates and we have to choose 3. And so I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but I think we're able to accommodate these 3, and I really appreciate their expertise and their interests. I find the biggest factor in the interviews is they're well aligned with the highest level policy of the community, which is tree preservation, interest in trees, but they bring individual perspectives, and I think that's exactly the criteria we want.
Very good. Any other discussion of that or questions from Mark? I guess I had one thought, Mark, that I wanted to share with you. Well, I guess I got 2. Do we still have a governance manual?
Yes.
And it's somewhere in there. Maybe it was in there, but I had in my mind that we were highly encouraging candidates to attend tree board meetings as part of their application process or before they would be confirmed.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Maybe I don't think I'm making it up, but I wonder if that's something that I think we might miss some great opportunities if we held too rigidly to that. But on the other hand, I do think it's a good thing for people to actually see who we are and how we operate and the kind of issues we're talking about before they get too far down there. I don't know what people think about that. Or
Make it a requirement to be.
what part of
To make it a requirement or.
Well, to
Yes,
make it to
strongly
encourage
encourage
it, I guess. Yeah.
I think. One thing people might attend a tree board because they don't like it.
Well, and that's good.
They've already gone through the appointment process and also they'll come to their first meeting and say, oh, this is what I had in mind. Which is good. That's not a good thing.
Right.
I think my question would be logistics of how and when is it recommended to them? Is it recommended in text as they apply, or is it something that in the interview process or in communication with the city clerk or with Mark, they're requested to come to a meeting? Because I know one of the pinch points it sounds like we've heard feedback on is people who apply and then never hear back from anything. But I don't know if there's anything, it's been a while since I filled out the application. You may know if there's anywhere on that that says like your application's been submitted. We recommend that you come to a meeting to get to start to know the board member and their board members and their process. Click here to go see when the next meetings are, something like that. Could be helpful because that would also give us a indication that someone thinks they have applied and we have not heard anything about it.
I don't think it's on the application, and I think it would be a nice note to add to it. That can be done without too much trouble. Is just point that out to people that that's a good thing to do.
Suppose in theory, people can they can have watched the tree board members, tree board recordings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they come to members.
And when the mayor and city clerk ask for our staff input, one of our questions is, do you know what you're getting into?
Right, exactly.
You know, the number of meetings, the when they are, when packets come out, and we gauge a general understanding of what that looks like if they were to join. And so that's that moment where questions may come up, clarifications, and so we do kind of verify that. What I found is that the community is pretty well versed by the time they submit or indicate they would like to be a volunteer. So I've yet to talk to somebody out of the blue that said, "Hey, I want to do something, choose something for me."
Now, I think there was one case, somebody who applied and was interviewed by Drew, and I don't know, Mark, if you were in on that interview or not, but out of that came the decision not to pursue that candidate.
Well, the decision lies with the mayor, and I don't
Yeah,
pretend to know his process. He's lived here, I think, his entire life. That's his discretion. I leave that entirely to him.
well,
So, but the interview that I recall with Drew was that the impression we had that we conveyed honestly to the mayor as only feedback, not a decision, was it seemed like the responses were that they wanted to be on tree board to counterbalance or counteract some of the decisions. And to us, the feedback was that's not consistent with the overall purpose of the tree board, right? It's not a body that decides quasi-judicial political matters, or creates
all right.
policy. And so that was the feedback. And then the mayor fields that, thinks about it, makes a decision.
I was thinking it would be helpful it would have been helpful for me personally, I guess, and maybe for others on the tree board to know that that process had ended at that point, that wasn't being pursued, because otherwise, ran into that person later and he was just wondering what the status was. Had kind of an awkward conversation later about that. I don't know, that was one thought. If we could know when those interviews result in not going forward with the candidate, might be helpful.
And that comes from top down. There is no formal process. It's the mayor's discretion to
Mhm.
appoint and the council to, what's the word, confirm.
Yep.
And we don't play a role in that. So not being the mayor's boss, I don't get to say, hey, where's your decision by 4 o'clock Friday? So, and that's the informal part. That's the pleasure of being mayor.
Another thought I had, and I'd just like to share it with you and with the board members, is um, it seemed to me when I was council liaison to the tree board for a number of years, so I have been following the tree board quite a bit. It seemed to me that there was a time when tree board members got to see resumes or applications of candidates before they were confirmed. And I wonder how I think that would be a good thing to do. Sometimes scheduling might make that difficult to pull off. But it seems to me it would be helpful if the tree board were able to see the applications of candidates who were going to be put forward by the mayor for council approval. If that could be done a week before that event or whatever. It seems to me that would be a courtesy to tree board members, and also might there might be information that would be relevant to the mayor in final decision. So I don't know how hard that would be to do. I don't know that there's any parliamentary reason why that wouldn't be a good thing to do.
It just doesn't exist. And so everything's through the mayor. Applications are through the city clerk. And in the years that I've been here, that's what I've seen. So
you're saying I should take these topics to the mayor?
If you so desire.
Okay. Okay.
But don't tell him Mark sent you, because that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
I have
Yeah, Victoria.
one follow-up question. You mentioned a volunteer handbook for boards and commissions. Is that something that we could get a copy emailed to us?
That'd be nice. It came up during when the CPAT, right? When we were appointing the CPAT and alternates are there, and it came up, and then it comes up at Plan Commission. Might be a really good time to recirculate that. I'll do that.
Thank you.
It seems to me I was given something like that, actual hard copy of a
Yeah.
document like that
Sure.
Several years ago.
Recall the.
No, I may have been glad to do
I
it.
don't recall it now. But then again, I came in during COVID, you came in before COVID, people didn't hand people paper copies of things unless they were really important. Oh,
Well, we'd like to see it again.
I'll look and see if I can find the one that I got.
oh, I'm sure it's.
I was gonna, if Sam can just shoot an email to the board with, but like,
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Worst case, Matt, the city clerk, will have the most recent. We'll circulate it to everybody.
Great, thank you.
Any other thoughts about new member updates or questions from Mark?
I do have one, and thank you for the introductions and your terms. With the holiday, we were focused on these interviews and vacancies for tree board. It never even crossed my mind until tonight, this moment, about reappointments.
Yeah.
And whether it's an official act and whether that's on Matt's radar for an agenda. But that said, if that is coming, can I convey to them that the existing or current board members that have upcoming terms ending are interested in staying on?
Yes, that's right. That would be Richard Saunders and myself.
Okay, yeah, that'll make it easier.
But not yet.
But
No,
okay,
Not yet.
Term,
Are we further?
2 3-year terms is.
It's not going to start the adjunct advisory committee to the tree board.
I think it's a fortunate coincidence.
You could you could get elected on council and become liaison.
We'll find ways to keep in touch, believe me. Larry, go ahead, please.
Yeah, bit more context on the reappointments. That's an even more informal process. And what we've done in the past is, so the first part of council business is the consent agenda. Things that are totally non-controversial, relatively minor. And we just vote on all of the consent, things like approving minutes. And we tend to vote on reappointments in that section. So unless any council member objects, it would just be sort of a formality to reappoint Richard and Richard and Mark, probably on the 22nd.
I think last year, but for the reappointment, the city clerk just needed an email from each member saying they wanted to renew, and then I sent that to the clerk, and then I guess that goes to the council. But it was as simple as an email.
That's
Just-
not how.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do recall getting that 4 years, 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just confirming you want to rejoin.
So we should do that.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on that topic?
yeah,
Well-
absolutely. Thank you all. I think
Thank you, Mark.
it's nice to have people that are interested in being appointed. And I think that should be the message, that people want to participate in the community and not get too bureaucratic or too regulatory, but really appreciate the expertise. So staff really thanks you. And
Well,
with that,
Thanks for
my
being
wife
here.
will be very happy to
Oh,
start
feel free
dinner.
to stick around if you'd like.
Nope, I'm going to go eat. Thank you all.
Okay, good night. All right, very good. Let's go back to point A on our agenda. Would you summarize for us?
Probably wait for Sam to re-arrive.
I think they'll just join them together. Video.
Yeah, when the host leaves, there's end the meeting and then there's delegate a new host.
Yeah,
And I'm guessing Mark chose the wrong option.
he's eager to get on to something else tonight, isn't he?
Time to eat option.
Okay, so hopefully Sam will jump on board again.
You may take that opportunity to leave. He's not eating lunch too.
There he is.
I got a message right after I clicked off that I ended the webinar for all.
We noticed.
Okay. I'll find a creative way to leave, but you're back on.
When you leave, it should ask if you want to end the meeting or if you want to assign a new host. So
Okay.
if you were to assign Elizabeth or Sam as the new host, then you could exit.
We are now listed as hosts, so you should be good to go.
Yeah, here it goes.
Okay,
Perfect, okay. Sam is back too, okay, perfect.
Sam, you're muted.
Oh, okay.
We're turning to the work plan and take another look at that, and we're running out of time on this, so I did well, Sam, you're here. I did ask you via email if the updates you were making for tonight were incorporated what we had talked about at the last meeting, and it sounds like that was the case.
Yes, yeah, I was able to update from what the notes I took, and then just kind of what we kind of talked about, adjusting a few of the verbiage and putting asterisks next to the leader, kind of like the lead for all of these roles. But I had to do two asterisks instead of one, just so it kind of fit within the whole document.
Okay. So I have not since gone through this. I've gone through it quickly, but not line by line. So I don't know if anybody else had a chance to study this anymore. I do have a feeling that this is a document we could work for month after month if we wanted to, and probably find ways to tweak it and it'll be good. But I'm feeling like it's the vehicle that'll carry us on into the next year now. It certainly is possible for us to update this as we go through. Those would likely be minor kind of updates that we make along the way, but that's possible. So, have you had a chance to look at this some more, or think about it some more, or have other thoughts about any of the items here?
My just a general feedback, Mark, is I do think my personal preference is that each item have someone assigned to it, and we just have a couple that still don't have individuals starred. So that was
Well, I see one that says everyone.
yeah,
Is that the one you're talking about?
that's one of the ones I'm talking about. And I think there's maybe a couple more that don't have anybody starred.
Oh, there's not anybody start. Okay. Well, should we take care of that? So the first one I see is on the first page. It's communication with advocacy groups, it's shareholders, stakeholders, other people. I guess we can cross Dick out of that. And you know, well, I don't know. What do you think? We got Victoria, Stacy, and myself listed there. One of us going to take the lead on that and really figure out what it means. Because it's not necessarily clear what it means. I think it's can be created as we see fit in terms of who those groups are that we want to be in touch with.
Yeah, that one's tricky for me because it feels like it's been done by whoever has a connection to
Yeah.
other groups.
Like
not
you have a
necessarily
connection
by a
with climate
single
action,
person.
exactly. Maybe we assign a person and a group. It would be a little bit more complicated, but like, for example, I would assign you to keep in touch with the Climate Action Committee because your wife's name is Sarah. And
It also they've disbanded.
But I think Richard's point is if we had one person designated to see that I agreed to that and that you
gotcha.
agreed to keep.
And like you can put the star by my name as chair for the
I mean,
next year as like make sure that people do things as part of
Okay, yeah.
being on the board.
Thank you.
Exactly.
So we're agreeing Victoria gets the two asterisks,
And Dick is on.
and Dick falls by the wayside on that one.
And on the next one too, or
Yeah. Well,
we hope that we'll still work on that. But
Day on that.
this is our future work.
For the tree walk,
Oh,
yeah, that we're talking about, yeah, but I agreed to sort of maintain contact with them about it.
well, I think we need to take him off this list though.
Yeah,
But it's agreed amongst us, right, that we're going to be in touch with
Yeah.
Dick on that.
unless you want to add them as an alternate.
Okay, we got that. Oh, this is gonna get a little complicated, isn't it? Because we got 3 more members coming on board pretty soon.
Yep.
So we can, I don't think we should presume how to assign them at this point. And maybe we'll have a chance to do that at our February meeting. I don't know exactly what the timing is when we're gonna have to take this to council. But why don't we just proceed on this list as Richard has suggested and see a chair and see names on that for this at this point. You can be thinking, Kyle, with any one of these
Right.
you ought to be plugged into.
hopefully at the next meeting, you can talk to all the people and send this out ahead of time and say, if there's something you'd like to have added to your name, let us know. So people can think about it ahead of time instead of coming in and all of a sudden having it plastered in front of them.
Yeah.
Invasive plant management, Stacy and Mark, you wanna rock, paper, scissors for who gets an
for
asterisk?
sure. I don't think I'm on it. Am I even on it anymore?
Toby,
Isn't it Richard and Sam?
The
Which one is that? I lost
top
track.
one on the second page.
Uh,
General invasive plant
invasive plant.
management, including
Oh, general.
education opportunities
Oh,
and
yeah,
educational
yeah.
materials.
For sure. I mean, feel free to star my name.
Okay, you want it, you got it.
I don't really know what it means, but
Well-
we'll figure it out.
I know, that's right. That's right. It's something we want to do with
stars.
Well, you and I are gonna make a video at some point.
Exactly.
You know that one. That's good.
That's one that I'll likely look to support. And
Cool.
Awesome.
along with looking at the previous page, develop content to improve public outreach. I know you're a start for that, but that's one that I'll
Makes-
help as well.
Say again what that is, Kyle.
The third one, develop content.
There's mostly
Okay.
start by my name because I have a Canva account. That's my
Yeah.
primary qualification for that one.
Sam, are you catching these as we go through?
I am. I'm making notes right now.
Okay, good. I'm looking now at the second one on the second page. This is really the 5-acre wood black locust project that we talked about. So what kind of stands out?
That's got Richard.
Yeah, I'm started on that one.
Oh, that's good. You're already there. Okay,
I
thank
think
you.
the only other one is the everyone comprehensively review and update community forest management plan.
So review and stay up to dates with requirements for DNR Evergreen Community Program. That's going to be whoever is chair will do that, which we might as well just say, is that Victoria?
The one for DNR Evergreen Community, yes, that's
Yes.
listed as not, I mean,
Okay.
basically me and Sam. I would assume that that one and the one that says everyone are really Sam with likely the asterisk, and then all of us contributing.
So I'm changing chair to Victoria.
Sure.
That is a given that we've talked about, and we're all on the same page on that, aren't we? That we decided several months ago that we looked at chair and vice chair, and it was our feeling that Victoria would be the chair starting in
Anyone
the last
put
stage.
their name in the hat, they're more than welcome. I think we officially vote next meeting in this.
Related, you should also think, I mean, the conveyor belt is a good idea that this year's vice chair becomes next year's chair. So then thinking about who wants to be vice chair this year.
I would like to formally not be vice chair because I am ill-equipped to be chair the following year. So
I feel like promises were made
I know.
a year ago.
Was it something we'd like to take up at our next meeting?
I would assume so, since doesn't it transition after next meeting? So I assume next meeting we'll need to vote on chair and vice chair for the following
I
year.
suppose so. That would formalize it there. Okay. Where are we here? Moving down into advise mayor and council. That looks.
Now, before that, I'm down as support and maintain tree planting and
Okay.
maintenance events, which seems an awful lot like post-annual Arbor activities such as tree planting. And I'm not particularly excited about being responsible for that.
Okay.
I think that's the one that we had a lengthy discussion last time about, separate from hosting something for Arbor Day. Part of our mandate is to support tree planting and maintenance events for the city. And we had a lengthy discussion, as I recall last time, about, are we supposed to be proposing and planning those? Or is that when the city wants to do some form of planting, we support it? And I don't think we came to an answer on that. Does anyone else remember this conversation?
I remember the conversation.
The same way.
Yeah, but I don't think we
Okay.
totally.
Are you okay with that clarification?
Yeah, I guess.
So I like, that's how I see them as different, is the one on the second page is literally like part 2 of our mandate as a board.
But getting the Arbor Day event plan is not, I don't think you want primary responsibility for that. For getting the Arbor Day event plan, but it's already done for you, Martin.
It's down for me.
Yeah.
So we good?
Yep.
Okay.
Next year, you might want to think about just. Oh, that's okay. There's clarification. Victoria Man is good.
It could work as a combined item with, yeah. But I think we were not gonna dig too deeply into.
I see the second page more as supporting city initiatives for tree planting, and the first one as we need to independently plan an event for Arbor Day.
Okay, so the next one looks to me to be that one about comprehensive review update of the community forest management plan. It's really about working with the Sustainable Forest Initiative. And by the way, Sam, I haven't been following carefully, but I should ask Larry, did the council approve that application?
It hasn't come to council yet.
Hasn't?
It's not on the agenda for tomorrow. I believe it's planned for the January 22nd meeting. Is that your understanding, Sam?
That is my understanding. I believe we sent it over to Mike, who's with SFI, Mike Martini, and we're just waiting on his response.
Okay, we haven't heard anything like that. That's too late, sorry, or anything like that.
No, none of that.
Okay, good. Okay, but anyway, so that item still holds though. And the suggestion was, do we want to put a name? It does sound like me like something that we will be considering as a group and making some decisions about it, and probably even boots on the ground helping those folks. I think, or assisting Sam will probably be the lead on that, but yeah.
The analogy is probably the comprehensive plan, when all of you were providing feedback about the comprehensive plan, but one person was sort of taking the lead about walking the whole board through, like, let's look at this chapter now, let's look at that chapter. So basically someone to lead the conversation that all of you will be part of.
You know, I'm feeling like maybe that ought to be Sam. I mean, you are the grant administrator, I think, in the way that the application fell out, and you're the key contact with SFI. This, I guess, what we're talking about is a person who is going to lead us as a tree board, or push us as a tree board to be thinking about the right things and supporting that grant and the work that's going on in the appropriate way as it's happening.
The
Can I
way
put you down for that?
the way I view this as the comprehensively review it, there's a few parts within the SFI that are directly working with the tree board, communicating with you guys.
Yes.
And a lot of the other parts that I'm performing, I think more this should be someone on the tree board for moments when they're discussing with you and maybe they're asking more about information that you guys are working together to create, or
Sure.
like to provide them. I can be on there, but I do think someone on the board should be there, because when we push that information to you guys, like, hey, you're meeting with the consultants, they'd come and they'll talk not just to me. I mean, it's to all of you there. So that's my thought.
Oh, I think that's a good thought. Yeah, makes sense. So where does that leave us? I think Sam's name is in that box. Maybe he doesn't have the two asterisks, but one of us probably should have. You know, I'm good with that. If that's okay with you all. Second. I do feel like in the course of working with those people a few months ago, dug into that somewhat, into what they have in mind anyway. Okay, so we good with that? I get the two asterisks and Sam is in the box also, but we understand that Sam has a kind of a special city-based role to play with them. And so the next one is that good?
That's
Yeah, a lot of things that Sam is on is actually Sam is leading, even though he's not starred.
Yeah. Okay, meeting with the mayor and council, delivering the annual report. I got a lead on that, I guess, as a chair, we'll be doing that.
Whenever that does get scheduled, I would love to attend with you.
Pardon me?
I would love to attend as well whenever it gets scheduled, so if you can let me know when that gets on
Well,
the
you're in the box
calendar.
there, so yeah, good. The question, I guess, well, the related question is that any thought being given as to when that report might happen? At this point, or is that on the horizon, or it seems like it wants to happen in February, at least if it can.
Is that to me?
I'm asking you, Claire.
So-
I wonder if you have any sense of that.
So, and with the planning commission, we are going to have a joint council planning commission meeting next week to kind of talk about their work plan. And more detail. I don't think we need to do that for either the tree board or the parks board. I think the planning commission, there's more concrete recommendations to code. So for tree and parks board, I could see doing like a 15-minute presentation at one of the February council meetings.
Okay, so, but anyway, so. Yeah, you pursue that and make that happen.
I mean, do you have a preference? Let me check the dates. So the February council meetings are the 12th.
February last year, because I was in the hospital. You had to do it for me.
There's the, so it's February 12th and 26th. I mean, I guess the first question, how long do you envision this presentation?
15 minutes, most.
That should be easy enough.
Including the plan, the work plan and the annual report.
Should be easy enough to squeeze into either.
So the dates again, and you're gonna be the lead on that presentation, so what?
You will, as the chair.
Oh, no, I'm confused, sorry, excuse me, excuse me, I'm confused, I'm thinking of the recommendations, code recommendations, right, that's it, which is a different thing, which is another scheduling issue, but
so for the presenting the work plan, either the 12th or the 26th? Preference to on
it
those?
makes no difference to me.
Ditto.
I could propose both dates and then we just kind of see how busy the agenda is seen.
Yeah. Perfect. What else is on here we want to talk about? Review tree permit data. We're hoping to get into that and figure out what that means again. And deliver annual report on our plant fair council. Okay, well, let's see. Deliver annual report to council, deliver annual report and work plan to council. Those really should be combined.
Yeah, those look like some overlap.
Is that it? People agree to that? The third from the bottom and the bottom one should be combined. I don't know why I didn't see that earlier.
They are the same. I mean,
They did the same thing. So Sam, did you hear that in terms of combining those two items?
Yep.
What's the difference between the third and the bottom one? Bottom one says.
Yeah. That's right. You just delete that 1/3
Plus,
from the
we're gonna
bottom.
stay 12 hours.
One of them was scheduled to take 4 hours longer than the other, which is intriguing.
It's a 15-minute presentation, that's it.
Means the work plan takes -4 hours.
Okay.
Things.
Okay. We pretty good on this, and that would include, so that would have in the box then would be Victoria, me, and Sam. And would take the lead on that. Anything else on work plan? I've been thinking. What did I say something? Go ahead. No. Well, I've just been kicking around this idea of an additional item for our work plan, and I wanted to just run it by you. Of course, and it's this: we're going to be making recommendations to essentially increase the number of large trees, or promoting and supporting large trees at Lake Forest Park. And I did have a conversation with somebody who was very knowledgeable and worked on the tree task force about this. His house was severely damaged by a large tree that fell on his house. And this is somebody who's an arborist and loves trees, but he was cautioning that it's probably a good idea to have some understanding of any risk side or downside that exists when you promote large trees in the city. My thought was just that it might be that a suitable tree board item would be to be gathering information about large tree failures in Lake Forest Park, and just to kind of have some kind of understanding when these things do happen, how often they happen, and I guess consequences. When there's damage that's caused as a result of them. So oftentimes there's no damage, but sometimes there is. So my thought was to add an item, something like track information on large tree failures.
Not just large
How would we
trees.
do it?
Pardon me?
How do you think we would do it?
Well, I asked Sam about this, Sam, and I asked you if that information was anywhere in the city data systems, and go ahead and tell me what mention what you said.
Yeah, there's nothing unless they report a tree removal. Um, like if there was a large limb failure and then that was it, and then they left the tree there, there's no way for me to know what happened. You have to go through and maybe look at like building permits to see if there was any damage, and then they were doing an emergency repair, which would take way too long. It would be like, siphoning through a lot of permits there. Um, the only way I would see any is if they do like an emergency permit to remove a tree and I get that information. I can tell you now within the past, I think we've had like three or four pretty big wind events this past month or two, and I'd count on maybe one or two hands, the amount of permits that I received regarding a tree failure and whether it was damaging another tree or they're just reporting a tree failure to me and then they have to do a removal. So it'd be difficult to get all that data.
Yeah, it's pretty clear the data is not handily readily available. Sometimes it's anecdotal. You notice in your neighborhood that a tree fell over, one on 187, I think 182nd, I guess, that fell over across the street, damaged the house. The people that I just mentioned and their experience, they're on 178 on the goat trail. And I don't know, some of the information might just be anecdotal, and it certainly would be very informal, a kind of a running log of how often that happens.
I don't know that it's exactly that, but one of the things that I think I've discussed with a couple of folks as we've been tabling and heard similar feedback that I feel like would go under on the third one there, developing content for education, is having some better educational materials that we can use at tabling events and things around tree care and maintenance. That we've had a number of folks who have talked to us about, like, I love there are so many trees. I see so many unhealthy trees. Like, what are you all doing to make sure that people are, for encouraging large trees, that people are getting them assessed, are managing their ivy, are doing these other things to make sure that they have appropriate pruning. You're not increasing risk of major limbs or large trees coming down on property. So I think that is something we could put in under some of the educational materials, not saying like in the last year 24 trees have damaged home to Lake Forest Park, but how do you mitigate some of the risks of this? I think that is something we could certainly do in educational materials.
Yeah, well, at the very least, I would not want them to be just large trees. If you're gonna look at trees damaging houses, let's look at all trees damaging houses. Because if you just look at large trees, you get the impression that only large trees damage houses.
Yeah.
And that's not true.
I think there's a significant risk of writing up anecdotal evidence as if it means anything. Right? I mean, if we wanted to try to do this in any statistically or scientifically credible way, we would want to identify how many homes there are in Lake Forest Park and how many have been damaged by tree falls, and identify how many large trees there are. And from there, we could establish a probability that any individual home would be damaged by a tree fall. And it would be so vanishingly small as to create a better impression of what the risk actually is. The problem with anecdotes is that people base their own personal risk on something that's totally unscientific and inappropriate for risk assessment.
Yeah.
And so if we wanted to do something right, it would be a significant effort.
So if we adopted the things that Sam and I are sooner or later going to present to council, we would be recommending maximum protection for about 5,500 trees. Those are trees that get the special level of protection for exceptional trees. Those are exceptional trees. You go to landmark trees, probably more in the order of 100,000, I suspect. Which, is a lot of trees.
It is
If you're
a
gonna
lot
say,
of
well, we can't protect any of because one of those 100,000 trees might fall in a house. You're really going the wrong direction.
Yeah, I hear all that, and I'm a little bit leery too of becoming too formal with it.
Richard, I guess, in the sense.
I am too. I only raised that as sort of a spectrum, right?
Because when you do
And
that,
if you
you
really
start,
wanted to try to do this right,
yeah,
Doug mentions about how many trees there are. So that the probability that any one of those trees would hit a house would reduce the probability of any house being hit
Yeah.
by any individual tree even farther. I'm reminded of what maybe it was at the Green Fair or someplace where we were talking to people, and this couple came up and were really concerned about this big tree on a neighbor's property falling and hitting their house.
Mhm.
And it was a Douglas fir, I think, and wanted to know what they could do about it. And I said, well, how long have you lived there? We've lived here 40 years. I said, and that tree is probably 100 years old and will live to be 500 years old. The probability that that's going to damage your house is so remote that you should go home and enjoy that tree. But they were so afraid.
And
And
the thing that stuck out to me about that was they were asking about potential solutions that would have actually damaged the tree and made it more likely to hit their house.
Cutting all the limbs on their side of the tree off.
Yeah. So like that's where I think education can be done about how to maintain healthy trees that will be less likely to damage any structures or to come down. If we were to pursue having actual like statistics or something like that, the way I would personally approach it if I was writing public materials is having all of those actual numbers and metrics to back it up, and then presenting that in a more approachable way that would be not this is the percentage chance that your house will get damaged, but Lake Forest Park has 300,000 trees. We know of 24 that came down within the last year, and letting people get to the harder statistics through more approachable numbers, but having the harder statistics to back it up. I would be very hesitant with what you said, Sam, about what numbers we have, that we could actually get to a place where we could give that information out without looking for like broad national or state statistics that may be available online and we could extrapolate from.
and just to put this personally, we had a tree fall on our house, not the house in Lake Forest, but our previous house. It wasn't a large, it was a good sized tree. It wasn't anywhere near exceptional. It happened.
Yep.
I guess one of the things going through my mind too is that I believe we can expect more of those incidents. If what we're learning and what we know about climate is reality, we're going to see more severe windstorms on into the future. Now, we can expect that, and so maybe to see more of those incidents. But
this thought was going through my mind when Victoria was talking relate to healthy trees. It's not just the individual tree either. Like a tree track is going to be healthier than a single tree standing there all by itself in a windstorm. So again, back to education.
Okay, so it sounds like our sense is that is an appropriate thought to keep in mind as we develop materials and talk to people about proper maintenance.
In the context of tree health.
Risk mitigation and maintenance.
Yeah,
I
think that's a great idea.
But I think
that should, is that covered in our work plan? I mean, that sounds like a great thing to make.
Well,
it is part of the third bullet point on page 1. We can call it out as a specific thing that we want to develop new educational materials around if we want.
Tree health, yeah, I think that's great.
what needs to be added here though, if a tree is sick, if you show signs of root rot or something like that, then we're talking about a different story. I mean, not just,
Yes.
like they were talking about people had a 60-year-old tree next to their house or a 100-year-old tree next to their house, and they're worried about it. If they had a 100-year-old tree next to their house and had a gigantic canker in it, that's an entirely different story. And of course, it's much easier to get, as far as I know, it's much easier to get a permit to take down an ill tree or a dangerous tree, a hazard tree, than just take down a random tree. So if the tree becomes a hazard and it's recognizable as a hazard, and arborists make their living by identifying hazard trees.
And that's some of like educating people on when should you call in an arborist. We talked last time about potentially having resources on the city website or available through us that are arborists who are registered to work in Lake Forest Park. And being able to, because we had, I think it was the picnic in the park, we had a number of people ask do you have a recommendation of, I need an arborist to come to my property, do you have any recommendations?
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be recommending individual arborists, but pointing them to something that says, instead of just Google arborist, here's the list of folks who are registered to work within Lake Forest Park, I think would be a helpful resource.
Well, I'm wondering, I don't want to, we've already, it's kind of a recapitulation of our whole purpose as a tree board we're getting into here, and I just want to, I think it's right, probably something in that third point under education. And maybe it's just develop content to improve public outreach about trees and tree health or tree maintenance. Just add an insert of a phrase like that.
You're welcome to make it more specific. Yeah.
Well,
it feels to me like it covers all of our educational outreach materials, which
I'm okay with it the way it is, and we just understand that
Yeah.
it is something that there's a lot of dimensions to what we want to communicate about trees. That's one of them. Okay. I did want to mention on that very same box. I talked to the person who's I guess she's a coordinator for realtors over at Windermere. She's setting up a time for me to talk to the realtor staff over there sometime in February. I'm just going to use, Sam, that 2-page summary that you showed me the city has developed as a summary of our tree code as a talking point in terms of talking to them. And you and I can talk more, and if you want to be involved in that, it'd be great too. But I just mentioned that as something that is moving forward on the work plan. Anything else on the work plan we want to discuss?
The outreach box has a significant stack of brochures still, the ones that we made a couple years ago about our urban forests. So if you want to offer them brochures, if those seem like they have helpful content,
Good point.
keep in mind that we have a stack of those.
One more thought on the tree plant. If we're going to present to the city council, when we present to the city council, it might be better to do it at the 26th, simply because if you have a meeting, and I'm not going to be here for the next meeting, but you have a meeting and we have the new board members here and they want to add their names, that's a pretty quick turnaround for the immediately next council meeting. So the 26th will offer more time to incorporate the names of the people who want to be added to the list.
That might be a preference. I think we could accommodate the other one too, but probably a little more time.
I can submit both dates with a preference for the 26th.
It sounds like, so it's definitely something that I need to share this work plan with Kyle's got it and is already on the list. So with the other two new folks, so that they can be thinking about that before we take it to council. Shall we turn to the annual report? This is a draft, right? Did you have a chance to look at it or see anything that needs updating? Except for the 2023 reference on that was the only thing I had.
Nobody bought that last year. It was really wrong last year too.
Yeah, probably was. What is it?
You probably ought to, might want to add, since you're going to say planning staff and council liaison 2025, that Drew is also at one point their report planner. You can put it, it's no longer here.
And so I think anybody who was during the year of 2025 should be listed.
Yeah.
Okay. So no.
In that case, should Mark be on there as well since he's attended?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Mark is I think that's a little different function. You go ahead.
On above that, the asterisk, there's one vacant board position as of February 2026, should be changed to January, since that by February will hopefully not be true.
Want to make that January?
Well, we're gonna have two join before the end of the month. Not sure that even is.
You can say as of January 1st.
Yeah.
When this was, or January 6th, when this is, what's today, 7th? When this was drafted.
Well, and that's really said the tree board members, that whole list can be updated, can't it?
I would propose you just say if it's a 25 roster, to say as of December 31st, 2025.
Yeah.
It said during 2025, so that's right.
Yeah.
Did we lose anybody at the beginning of the year?
Did we what?
Did we lose anybody from this council at the beginning of the year? Did anybody rotate off?
No, I don't think so.
Did you guys wanna add like?
That was actually 2024.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I think so. I mean, Mark, the,
Yeah, we're done this year.
yeah, we planted those 2024, because I was watering them all this summer. So they were
Oh.
around.
When you
last
talked
fall.
about them on tree walk, so.
Yeah.
Under public outreach on the second page, I put in there the secret garden tour with question marks. I'm trying to recall if there were tables there. I was involved with some other aspect of that thing. But I don't think we had a table or any kind of outreach as part of the plant sale that they do. Okay, nobody's saying, oh, yes,
I don't recall.
yes, we did. Okay, so I'll scratch that out. Let's see. I thought about this before. Why didn't I put it in? We had a joint meeting with the climate,
Actually,
it was the Climate Action Committee, wasn't it?
yeah, you put it on there.
I'm sorry, did I miss it again? Where is it?
It's a third bullet.
And discussion of those first. Oh, I see. Right, you're right. Okay, so I did get it there as part of the outreach activity that we're doing. Well, what else you got? Any other thoughts on this? I got scratch that secret garden tour reference. I got go ahead and add all the members we know of. Well, there'll be all 8 of us, 8 members. Dick Olmsted will be removed. The rest of us will still be
No,
on.
this is the 2025, we don't want to do it. The 2026 people on there. They work on 2025.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
That's why I'm trying to remember if anybody rotated off in January. I don't think they did.
I don't think so.
This is a snapshot of 2025, so that's what it should be. Julia?
She was already gone.
Yeah. Never been to a single meeting.
Okay, and I got adding Drew to the staff. I got, I think that's it.
Yeah.
You know, things are gonna get interesting if, for example, John Drew, I know is interested in the tree board. Would be another excellent, addition to the tree board in the future. And it sounds like from our previous discussion that there would not be any reason why we wouldn't pursue that. It turns out that,
We might even have a quorum in August. Never happened as far as I know.
Does this look okay, good enough to take, the council at this point?
Yeah.
Did you guys talk about changing the year?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got that, was we're thinking. Okay. What's next on our agenda?
I don't think it's on the agenda. It reminded me on there though. I know you gave us an update, Sam, on the SFI grant. Do we have an update on where we stand with the KCD map software?
I believe I received an email. I was going through the emails from PTO and then being sick, and I believe there's an email regarding KCD and how there's a meeting coming up on the 20th with Mark and I, just to kind of go over everything with it. So that's where we stand right now. I'll probably have more information in the next meeting.
Great. Were we able to get them the map data they needed to move forward on the ones we wanted?
Yeah, we're able to provide that.
Okay, great. Good to hear. Thank you.
Okay, looks like the last thing we want to talk about, at least under old business, is continuing our discussion of the Arbor Day and the Green Fair planning that's coming up. So, if I understand where we were at our last meeting, we talked about regarding Arbor Day as having a tree walk. And that would be we said on the weekend of April the 25th. Is when we would do that. I guess that's the 24th. And that we were hoping that Dick would lead that. And he seemed amenable to that. And the locations where we mentioned Blue Heron neighborhood, Blue Heron Park neighborhood, or possibly just the Lion Creek Preserve. as locations for that. Is that still something? I think it's a great thing to do myself. It's that's still something that we feel we want to do. It certainly got people's interest and people appreciated that. I give a thumbs up on that. Any more thinking about, I don't know, Dick, if you've had a chance to give that any more thought about which of those locations you'd like to do that with?
I haven't given it any thought. I'd be happy to do it at any place I can go preview it. Or
Okay.
get an idea in mind of what to point out wherever we decide to do it.
Okay, so next meeting will be the.
If you could do it through the new Lion Creek Park, the new waterfront park. Most of them have seen that.
Well, that might be any kind of a cool thing to, we could open it up.
Oh, yeah, is that going to be open to the public? by
No,
April?
No, well, be a special,
Should be able to give permission.
Yeah.
Say
a
that,
special
that
event.
would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, I think the only concern would be if they're doing any sort of active demolition, but that's a matter of verifying with public works staff as to if could be temporarily accessible for that day.
And there's one day in advance when I can go ahead and preview on that, so I know what, we'll see.
Taking over the fence for that.
Mark, can you repeat what day we had talked about for that? Was it the 25th?
Well, we said the weekend of the 25th, and I don't, is that what's it's Saturday as we'd want to do it, I'm sure, is that the 25th? The Arbor Day is the 24th, which I think is Friday, so 25th might be Saturday. Sorry, I didn't bring my calendar on it. Oh, seriously. There's a calendar behind you. And so it's like Saturday the 25th. Saturday the 25th was the day we'll plan on.
I'll be out of town from the 5th to the 19th of April, but that will give me some time when I get back.
Okay. And why don't I check with Public Works about access to the new park?
On that note, our public works director left the city. So we're in the process of searching for and hiring a new public works director.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that might be better. I think Phil Hill our city administrator is serving as the de facto public works director, but maybe that could be something Sam could reach out to other city employees to you might have a better sense of who to ask about that.
Yeah,
You think? Yep, go ahead.
No, I was saying I could do that. I could ask around and kind of see who would be the best representative for it moving forward.
We'd want it for about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
We can issue hard hats to people if that would help. Okay. Now, what else? We want to move. This is still coming a ways in the future, but it would be nice to move ahead on some of these a little bit more. The other thing we talked about in regards to Arbor Day, as I recall, was some kind of a tree planting project following fall.
We also talked about giving away seedlings the following fall, so. Giving away seedlings, Victoria.
Yeah.
Gonna get seedlings on that. And I don't think I even knew at the time where our discussion went, and that keeps them low.
Mostly in circles.
Yes.
Well, we
That I recall.
kind of bridging a little bit to the Green Fair planning too, which is April the 4th. We'll have a table there, and we've got materials and things that we can do there. Did we pretty much decide not to try to do a tree giveaway at that time?
I believe so.
I think so. Okay.
You felt that the time to give away trees is the fall.
I think that's the best time to plant them, and so,
Yeah.
yeah, if you give them away to people in the spring, you really need to tell them that they've got to keep them in pots or water them throughout the summer or whatever.
Whatever, I have it penciled in on my calendar to do the Green Fair. It was helpful to have materials for promoting our Arbor Day event at Green Fair. So as long as we can finalize whatever the plans and timing and all of that is at our March meeting, I can make sure we have materials for April 4th to give out at Green Fair.
Okay. Good. Good. Do you have any more sense as to where we could get trees? We wanted to do a tree giveaway in the fall. I had this list. Sam provided me a list of wholesalers, I guess, mainly wholesalers, and I was able to I didn't actually make any phone calls, but I visited everybody's website. Most of the ones on that list, as you suspected, are pretty pricey. They're the larger trees and they're more expensive. So I don't know where that takes us. It would be nice to be able to have a variety of trees, which some of these places might allow versus DNR. What do you think, Larry?
I think, didn't we talked about KCD as a partner?
So that's right.
Because presumably they would be able to get it at a lower cost than one city customer.
That's who Shoreline and Kenmore, I believe, both partnered with for their tree giveaways.
I think I know we didn't make any decision, but our discussion also kind of seemed to wind towards not necessarily big trees, but more variety of more accessible trees that people can plant that might not, grow to be 100 feet tall.
So we'd like to follow up with KCD. I guess that would be one of the next steps we ought to try to do, would be to see what they can do for us, how we might work together.
What task does that go?
You think you'd like to do that?
No. I was saying from our work plan, what task does that relate to? We might point personnel.
I think
But
that was potentially actually what we had landed with the one that Doug is, not put you on the spot, Doug. That Doug ended up with his name next to on page 2 around tree planting. But I could be misremembering that.
Okay, can you send me an email to give me some idea? KCD is a fairly large thing. King County, who I could contact, might know about trees.
probably Ellen would be the first one to contact. You think? Or is there somebody closer to the ground that would know about that?
Sorry, you're cutting in and out a lot for me. You guys are hoping to contact KCD and you're asking about contact essentially, right? Is that it?
About a tree giveaway specifically.
Oh, about a tree giveaway specifically. I can do a little bit of digging to see, just because I can just talk to the KCD contacts I do have and ask them about that, and then I can report back.
What kind of trees we could get?
Yeah, I have no idea. That's a good question.
That's what you could contact them about.
So for what it's worth, I just Googled, the city of Burien did a giveaway in July of 25. And there's an email listed, urbanforestry@kingcd.org. That seems like
Urban forestry.
Yeah, urbanforestry@kingcd.org. So that seems like a good first contact.
And there's an email address there or something?
So that is the email address.
Sam has already been in touch with the folks is it Shoreline and Kenmore, I believe, who did their giveaways and worked with KCD on it. So what we're interested in is more information about what would it look like for KCD to support us on it and what kind of budget would we need? I'm guessing that would be the best place to start, is the folks Sam has already been in touch with about this.
Yeah, I can reach out to them and then even the Burien contact because I know Josh. And then I'm pretty sure last time we were talking about knowing and possibly using the tree fund account or partially of it. So
Yeah.
That'd be great. If you can just give us some more information about what it would take to do it and what it would look like through KCD's support.
We get an idea what it's going to cost per tree that we get. I think we also talked about the idea of having people sign up for them, then come get them rather than just having a table and giving away to anybody who comes.
What I'm curious about most though is if KCD has done this,
Yeah.
if KCD has done this with a bunch of other cities, why would we reinvent the wheel instead of going to KCD and saying, how do you suggest we do this?
Right.
Like that's where I would start, is asking them, do you have a plug and play plan that we can implement here? And if so, what's the take? What would our commitment be? How much would it cost? And if they say, no, we can just help you with procurement, then we can start on asking all of those questions about how we manage it.
Okay, I'm not going to be here next month, so it's going to be a part of the thing for 2 months from now.
Okay.
Or Sam can deal with it next month.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks, Sam, for pursuing that for us. see what KCD, how they might handle it. Yeah, the background clearly is we hear that you've done this with other cities and we're interested in how you approach it. Kind of thing. Is there anything else we want to do to try to move this along a little more tonight, or we got enough of well, we got some questions we got to get answered before we can move too much further. It sounds like the 25th, we just need to find out some more information about access. It sounds like we're moving towards the Lion Creek Preserve. And if we could include the expanded, the new park property, that would be wonderful.
Last year, it was great to partner with the CAC and get some expanded reach and have multiple activities happening. If we end up getting access to the new beachfront park, I would suggest that we reach out to the Parks Board and see if they want to help promote it as a chance to see that property and learn about some of the trees and what's going to be happening there. I think that would be a benefit to both of our groups.
Yeah, no, I thought it worked out well. Sounds like a fun event.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, there was another strong draw there, I guess, that new sculpture that was being planned for that.
If we aren't able to get into that park, we should talk in February if there's some other aspect to a tree walk that we want to do instead, some other activity or group that we want to partner with, if we're not able to get to that park.
We could do something like start at Blue Heron Park and do part or all of the tree walk that starts there.
Yeah.
Right, because that's a good place where people can park at the town center.
Yeah,
That's something there.
that may turn out to be the preferable way to go.
So either Blue Heron or Lion Creek, either way they can partner here.
And you can walk one of the other, it's not that far.
Okay, good. Yes,
There's follow up one more about the tree giveaway. It looks like all the information is hosted on the King Conservation District website rather than the city of Burien from their event.
Oh.
So it really does seem that KCD was sort of the lead, Burien was the partner. So I would encourage that we take the same strategy that we not try to be the lead organization when KCD has the breadth of experience.
I would be surprised if they didn't have a plug and play model for any city who is interested.
Yeah. Okay, good. Are we okay then revisiting this subject in a month and with maybe some progress on some of these research assignments and see where we are? It's good we're planning a little bit in advance, so we got time to work these out. Of course, there are going to be a couple of other things falling on us, picnic in the park later in the summer, and probably something else. Okay, we've done with that topic, or anything else? Any other discussion of that? What? Okay, we do have this thing on our agenda called new business, which often don't get into any new business, but
If we have a few minutes, it's what it's like to do. Something I was working on today, because I see my time, rapidly here, and having not got some things forward that I had been thinking about. One was developing a plan for some planting and restoration in Horizon View Park. And do you have a computer here, Elizabeth, that you could, if I send you something, you could project on Zoom?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually just sent you an email with a one-page file in it. If you spend much time looking at Lake Forest Park on
Would it be
satellite
easier
images.
to send it to Sam? Or
Oh, I guess I think.
Yeah, Sam,
Just
is it?
just a heads up, if you're trying to talk about planting with Horizon View Park,
yeah,
we actually have a game plan to plant for some of the removals for the roundabout at that park.
oh, great.
So a lot of the open spaces that you may see, there'll actually be new plantings coming in soon.
Well, there may be some overlap or some chance for input from the tree board or plantings in Lake Forest Park.
oh yeah,
Not there, the next one, which goes. That attachment. blow that up. So this is an aerial of the horizon view area counting the reservoir.
Can you share that? Like, do the share screen?
Yes. Can you see it, Sam?
Yes, I can see it.
So you can scroll on so you can see that whole view. All right. So one of the things that was really clear to me last April when we did the tree walk, because they were all in flower, is that along this edge of whoops, near where the one, the one is, Sam, if you're looking on here, along that edge to the west of the sidewalk, at the edge of that wooded area, is a lot of the invasive hawthorn, Crataegus monogyna. And you know, for a short period of time in the spring, it's beautiful because they flower. But there, if you look in there at any depth, all you see are seedlings. And it's just becoming a thicket of this invasive species. And it should, they all need to be removed. But it is an opportunity to plant something in there that would be attractive. And I think we could come up with things, either native things like arbutus, madrone, or Pacific dogwoods or something like that, or some other ornamental that would be also a flowering tree, because it's a park, it's beautiful, it has a flower, rather than just, I don't mean to say just, but rather than putting in more conifers or something like that. It frames the west edge of that park. The second, the reservoir has been, I mean, if you look at satellite views of Lake Forest Park, apart from the town center, it's the reservoir that is the biggest blight in terms of our forest canopy. And we've already been rebuffed by them for planting anything within their grounds. But what we have done is, can we see? Yeah, we've planted trees down here and here on the city street right away, right? And there's two places that I've been looking at that I think would be good places to plant. One would be on the city boundary, park boundary, just north of the fence that marks the margin of the reservoir. For one, it would block that light of a view from the park. It's a popular area for people with dogs and things like that. But if we planted some sort of an evergreen that had sort of a more of a two-dimensional view of growth form, something like incense cedars, which tend to be columnar and not take up too much space, we could block that fence within, you know, a decade or two at any rate, with something that would enhance our tree canopy and the beauty of that park. And then the third one, which is minor, but it's not insignificant. If you look at this white line, which is that gravel walkway that runs along 47, see where it dodges out to the street right there? Because there's a power pole, and on either side of that power pole, there's plenty of room for a tree. Now, we'd want to plant something short that wouldn't grow up into the power lines, but there are plenty of things that do that. Could do something like Cornelian cherry, for example, Cornus moss. There's a whole string of them along Ballinger, the north side of Ballinger, as you're coming up from the town center to the junction with 40th Place. In case you've ever noticed one, they're right in the planting strip. They're perfect for planting under power lines. They have beautiful yellow flowers early in the spring and edible fruits in the fall, which some people really enjoy. So I just put this together as to try to think of some way to work with the city. Sam, I don't know how this jives with anything that has been talked about with respect to planning, mitigating the roundabout, but those are just the ideas that I had come up with for this. Which removal of the Crataegus and replanting could be as many as, you know, 10 or 20 trees. Same with along the fence. If you planted a row of something like incense cedar, it would be 20 trees or so.
Where's the pickleball court in that diagram?
It's right where the horizon view.
Right number.
Right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right there. Oh, yeah, sure.
And here's those little buildings that are sort of the wellhead
Yeah.
control, whatever. And then it's just a hurricane fence that runs along. Sorry, runs along the side there.
You, there's also the Parks Board.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what, thinking they might be doing about individual parks.
So we have planted, we did an Arbor Day planting in Horizon View 3 years ago. We talked about various places that could be planted then.
Mhm.
And decided on that one. And, the city, actually most of our give and take was with the city planning people who had some constraints that they,
Well, Horizon View is really the only park that has open spaces. for
Yeah.
Running around and chasing your dog and throwing tennis balls
and I didn't want to do anything that would dramatically reduce the amount of open space,
sure.
right?
Sure,
The
yeah, I
trees
see that.
along the fence on the north side of the reservoir
Mhm.
would take up 6 or 8 feet into the green space there. But the advantage, of course, would not only enhance our tree canopy, but it would block that view of the reservoir itself. So it's frankly unsightly.
What are your, any thoughts?
I think it's a great idea.
They sound like good improvements.
Also creates some nice shade actually in the summer with
Yeah.
self sun.
So what would be next steps with this, you think? Richard? that thought?
Well,
Would you
it
like
could
to?
be something, so we haven't heard from Sam. Sam, do you have any insight into what the plans are for planting up there?
If you can scroll a little further up so I can see the full map there. Perfect. I believe at where you put 1,
That's where the hill drops off to the west.
yeah, it looks like in these areas we're looking to plant. I mean, it's a decent amount of trees.
You muted.
Sorry, 10 around where 1 is, 10 trees or so, about 10 more trees. It looks like it's tough to gauge where the 2 maps are because they broke up this pictures with Horizon View. But the piece that's a little difficult is all of this in terms of the tree review and the permit process for all of it has already been approved, even the replanting plan. But if you guys come up with a good idea and plan, I'd have to cross look this. Can you send this to me?
Yeah.
That'd be much easier. Then I can really take a look and analyze it.
Dick, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, please do that.
Because to me, this kind of relates to the work plan item that we kind of evolved out of our last discussion, which was to look at developing a plan for all the parks where that we're going to remove invasive stuff. Pursue invasive tree removal.
I just sent that, Sam.
Mhm.
So Sam, who did you say is working on, is it Public Works who's working actively on a planting plan for up there? And has submitted and approved permits?
The planting plan's already been approved. And it's gone through Public Works and then the contractor that they're using for it.
Okay.
So I have a question. I hope I don't come across too angry at my response. Why didn't the tree board know that this was even going on?
Yeah, no, I mean, usually, honestly, it's a good question. If you wanted to know more about like larger replanting processes, that's something that I can kind of come prepared to. When I started this position, this is kind of already in the starts. So something that Drew looked at about a year ago, and then something that I was starting to look at here and is finalizing the last bits of it.
Because we actually have been invited to or asked to be engaged with planning around tree planting for mitigating the transit corridor. And I don't see why this would be different.
Yeah,
Sort of a dress rehearsal for the planning corridor.
Yeah.
There certainly was an open house on the roundabout itself. I don't know that it got into specifics of tree planting or tree replacements.
Mhm.
My understanding of that was more about construction mitigation for the people who live in the immediate vicinity.
It was open to the public.
Is the sense I'm hearing of the tree board that you'd like to be aware when the city is proposing any sort of large scale tree planting event?
Yes.
Absolutely. Because I think the next one that'll be coming up will be, we're hoping to start construction on the roundabout in the next couple of months, I think. And as a public works project, there are trees being removed in the vicinity, so they'll have to be replanted elsewhere. So is that something like?
That's what he's talking about, so I think is where they've been replanting them.
I feel like it's more, there's more trees than just the number that Sam had said. I mean, is this the Sam, is this the roundabout tree replanting that you're referring to?
Yeah, so the replanting is there's going to be some replants around or near the roundabout, and then for canopy coverage, the amount that they're displacing, they're replanting in another location, specifically Horizon View Park. And I was taking a look here. It looks like where you selected one, there is a portion that's going to be planted there. The specifics of the numbers of trees and the specifics of trees, it just take me a second to look and like a little more of a second to like really look into that. But where you selected zone 2, to the east of that, they're looking to plant some smaller shrubs over there and smaller trees over there. And then let me see what this is. It looks like north of 1, there's a portion of trees that are going to be planted over there too.
The number 1 actually references that whole edge from north of Fit clear down to the south end of the playfield. All along there are where those invasive hawthorns are.
Okay.
So my thought in there was it would be almost a 1-for-1 replacement of the invasive trees that would be removed with some new trees that would be put in their place. So it might not actually change what was complete in any way with the plans that you guys have made already up there.
Yeah, if this plan contains more of a removal and then replacing in those locations where the removals were, there would be no competition for what's going to be replanted to match the canopy coverage that's needed or the canopy coverage replacement that's needed from the roundabout project.
Okay, if we could have a regular part of the agenda for the tree board meetings, updates on tree planting projects that the city's got going, because I'm with Dick. I think it would be nice if the tree board had known about this. If it, goes under Drew's watch or later, or well, it's already in, if this is all finalized. That's okay, I guess, but this is kind of what we're for. It's kind of a waste of time having a tree board if the tree board doesn't get informed about tree plantings.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's good to coordinate, obviously, but these are, in my mind, it's all to the good, right? Isn't it? I mean, if that whole area is going to get replanted, that's stuff we want to encourage.
Oh, it's a good thing, but it'd be nice if they talked about it. We have some expertise that they could have made use of.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're pulling in expertise, of their own to come up with a replanting plan.
Are these new trees that are going in, or just the trees that are coming out of the roundabout
They would
project?
be new
and then-
trees. It's the ones
Okay.
coming out.
Just
Okay.
So, under on the city's webpage, it says, as under what does the tree board do, it has 3 primary responsibilities. One is to organize and facilitate the city's tree planting events. This sounds like a tree planting event. Now, it is a project, I realize, of a scope that's in part and parcel of a major tree or road construction project. But I sort of think the tree board should have been engaged early on this. And there should have been input solicited, perhaps even to the extent of what were the appropriate trees to be planted as well as just, I mean. Yes, the coverage has to be maintained, but there are other reasons why we have a tree board. That this seems to have circumvented.
My question of, I have that same thing pulled up because I was curious what the language was. And my question there is more around for this project or some other similar ones. This one sounds like a scale that it might not be reasonable or feasible, but are there times that we should be assisting or taking ownership over engaging the community in planting some of these trees? It sounds like what's going to happen is a contractor is going to come into the park and plant a bunch of trees, which is great. At the end of the day, we get a bunch of trees. And would it have been an opportunity for at least some of it to be instead facilitated as an event done by us with volunteers to come in and get community members invested in and engaged in the park and do some of the planting? Don't know how feasible that is. Again, that maybe this specific one may be at a scale that that's not reasonable, but I'm curious if there are other times that we could be making this more of a community engagement opportunity instead of a contractor opportunity.
Yeah, well, that's a good thought. The common denominator seems to be off-site planting when that's required for projects, and it certainly, would seem like a good idea for us to be aware of those and have some input into where that is. We already got into that business with suggesting parts of the city to be emphasized in replanting in the future, off-site replanting.
Specifically with respect to the transit corridor project.
Yeah,
I think what you said is not true. This is exactly the kind of scale we can work on. I'm leery of the scale of the transit planting. We're talking about hundreds and hundreds of trees.
Yep.
But planting 24 trees is something that, we can contribute to. We need the information to do our job.
It's also a city property, right? A lot of those. A lot of those tree plantings.
Yes,
that are
yes,
actually-
all the more.
it is interesting how hard you had to scrounge for a tree location several years ago, which turns out to be 100 feet from point one up there, or 150 feet. And then these other areas, are good targets too. Well, is there any more we want to pursue on this? I think there's some thoughts that came out of it in terms of how the tree board would like to be aware of these kind of large scale replanting efforts that are taking place.
I just sent this to the email to everyone.
Okay.
But
And it sounds like Sam has an opportunity to think about this in coordination with the plans that have already been made for those spots, and how they can be meshed or how they can be added to by some of the points on this idea.
Sam, would you be interested in doing a walkthrough up there with me sometime?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just, in terms of, it just be having to find the time to do so. But I could probably, it wouldn't take too long to do that. I do want to let you know as well that all the trees that are picked to be replanted are on the general tree list, because that's one of the requirements for it. So everything that is picked to do so is either native or on the list. Well, I think everything's on the list is native, but everything's on the list.
Yes, sir.
So this might be a conversation for me to take offline, but I pulled up the map that the council approved in October of 2023 about offsite replanting zones.
Mhm.
And technically Horizon View is not in one of those 4 zones. So I am personally, as a council member, I'm curious as to kind of how Horizon View was chosen. And I get that this predates you joining the city, but I am curious as to how that was chosen as a replanting site for the roundabout.
Yeah, this is clearly something that was underfoot before Sam joined us. So Sam, I don't want to come across critical of you.
No, I think the message is that this does feel like something the tree board should be involved in.
Yeah, that's just suggested on the mark, I guess. Probably before him too, or maybe just not this mark, that mark.
I'm sure this is an easier target, that is those areas in the kind of the north central part of the city that we identified. Well, There may be a few larger sized tract, but it's probably a lot of right of way. And private property that you're trying to interest people in taking. I mean, I'm just saying, there's a convenience factor here in something like this that would be attractive. People try to put together a proposal. But
yeah, it's way easier to do it on private property than trying to find individuals, public property, find individuals who want a tree planted in their yard. Like, and this is a fine idea. It's a great thing to do. And even though it isn't in the preferred zones that, we adopted a couple of years ago.
That slope near where the one is has 3 or 4 juvenile redwoods planted in there.
Yeah.
Right, which in a few decades will fill that spot if nothing else is ever planted there. So I don't know exactly what they're having, what the plan is for the plantings there, but those redwoods are probably 3 of them planted 20 to 30 feet apart, and those canopies will intermingle once they get a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
They grow their huge trees.
All right. Well, thank you, Richard, for working on that.
Yeah, that's really good.
There was one other quick thing I wanted to mention before we adjourn. I think, and that's unless there's other business we want to pursue, but in looking at material for that annual report, I found myself digging through some of my archives, and I found this document that I had forgotten about, and which we worked on. Drew did a lot of work on this. It's only several pages. It's what I was calling housekeeping code amendments.
Oh.
There's several pages. Half of it is in the definition section. And I wasn't sure how I got this, but Elizabeth seems to think that it is available electronically. So I don't know why we dropped it or why it got kind of pushed aside. And I don't know if that was intentional on our part or we thought we had bigger fish to pursue with the exceptional trees and the tree list started to take prominence. I double checked. It doesn't look like Drew moved any of these along. They haven't been incorporated. But they do make sense to me looking at it. And I don't know if anybody else is in there. What I'd like to do, I guess, is send them out prior to the next meeting, and maybe we can take a few minutes to revisit them then and see if they still make sense. And then, if so, how we want to pursue them.
I would ask Sam what his perspective, like once you've had a chance, have you had a chance to look at these, Sam?
I have not had a chance.
I'd be interested in hearing your take on, you want to bundle these up with the tree diameters when that's coming to council, or is this a separate thing that the tree board can recommend? And that's a second amendment to the tree ordinance. So getting your take on what the best way of getting these changes to council is.
Yeah, that was go ahead, Sam. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think the best thing would be to send them over as soon as you can. And then I'll take a look at them and couple them all together so the changes can occur at once.
They really look like common sense kind of simple ideas to me, but I'm a little leery of muddying the water at this point when we got 2 important items that we worked hard on that we want to move through. So I would hate to see them slow down that process. But maybe Elizabeth, we can dig those out and you can send them out to Sam and to all of us.
Yeah, it would be good to see it. If this is something that's coming from the tree board, it'd be nice for people who haven't seen it.
If we could do that in the next couple of days, I think it'd be great, especially for Sam's benefit, but then we can also be thinking about it.
If you could do that sooner rather than later, because I won't be here for a couple of weeks wrapped around the next meeting, and I would like to look at these too.
Yeah.
I talked to Sam, Drew about. I think an awful lot of them are just.
Can I take a picture of it real quick? An
awful lot of them are really literally just housekeeping things that, I know one of them, for example, is that specifies the tree code as it existed on June 27th, 23, which is didn't allow us any option to update the tree list. The tree list as for a certain date, just take that out. Say just current tree list. It's a lot of stuff like that that really is not controversial, and we don't need to spend a lot of time on it because it's not like the things.
Yeah,
a lot of them are things that Drew found, I believe.
Yeah,
when she was approving tree permits and saying, "Oh, that's really not clear. We need to fix that." But it certainly wouldn't hurt to know about them.
So we'll get that out to people and we'll plan on talking about it, revisiting it at our next meeting. I think we're heading towards the end here, folks. What do we got for our next meeting? Welcome to members.
Oh, we've got to do,
Sam, is it possible to share with us the planting plan for Horizon View that is part of that roundabout mitigation?
I believe so. Let me talk to Mark and double check all that.
Okay,
Or if you could just, if you send us a link, I'm sure it's an official document that's somewhere in the.
Yeah, if I can find it there, then I'll definitely send it. If not, like I said, I'll talk to Mark and make sure everything's okay and all clear to do so, and then send it out.
Richard, what were you gonna say
oh, I mean,
for next meeting?
welcoming new members, and we've also got to vote in new officers.
Yep, that's right. We got especially a vice chair for next year.
Yeah, so everybody's got to think about who they're going to nominate.
We were gonna get some information on tree walk location. We're gonna try and nail that down a little bit.
I propose you make these housekeeping amendments an item for the February agenda.
Yep. Good. Okay, so that's on the agenda. Sam was gonna try to do a little research on tree giveaway information, especially with KCD. So that's kind of part of that planning.
Would that be part of old business?
Oh, yeah, yeah. We probably dispense with new business. We just keep working the same items over and over again. Of course, they show up as a pattern every year that we follow, so.
I think the work plan should always be on our agenda, Mark.
Almost like that, shouldn't it be? Because at some point you want to say, how is it coming?
Right.
How's that item coming? Is it following, give a report on,
Quarterly, maybe. Yeah, in some regular period, so we know it's
yeah.
what the goal is for the next check.
So Kyle has generously agreed to work on outreach content. And so he's probably wondering, well, how does this actually happen?
Yeah, I'm curious, like, what are the channels, or like, how are we reaching people today?
Yeah.
Mostly through events.
Like in
Tabling it.
person?
Yeah.
Okay.
And articles, we've published several articles, mainly on tree issues, tree problems. But we
In the
read articles.
news and the shoreline area news.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
But it doesn't have to be limited to that, right?
That is what we have done most recently.
Okay, folks,
you
you're
don't
in the
get
business.
the Lakeport Park e-news, you should sign up to that. I don't know who is the,
You will get signed up for it
I
as.
think what, if you join the board, you
currently.
I'll put you on the list.
Anything else we want to pursue tonight?
I did want to bring these up. I went to the Shoreline Historical Museum,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm not sure if everyone's gotten a chance to read these or if anyone's interested in these. But I snagged a few for
What I think?
for you guys.
Thank you.
But it's the Shoreline Memories, and then growing up with Lake Forest Park, the early decades, volume 1 and 2.
Oh.
Barbara Bender's books.
Yeah. So
So you have those in your office for us to look at, or?
yeah, I got them for you guys. So I don't know if anyone's interested. If you guys want to rotate them, I don't know.
I have the bottom one at home, so
Yeah,
no, I got that one.
Do you want volume 2 so you can browse it?
That seems a shame to just give it to one person.
Browse it and return it and rotate it through.
It's not like we have a library or an archive or a place that we can keep things, really.
Yeah.
Did I take a picture of it?
And you could
You could take
take
them.
them.
Well, I have the bottom one, so I don't want to do that.
Right.
Take the top one.
Taking a picture because
Maybe
we
you
might
guys
have,
could rotate
we might have the
it.
middle one too.
Review it. Have a look at
take
this one.
Take a look at that.
That's one you wanted to take, right?
I wanted to take a picture of it,
Oh.
see if we have it.
What's a blue one? Shoreline.
This is volume 2, so you're already.
Well, it's 9:00. Should I make a move to adjourn?
That would be
I so move.
very appropriate. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Anybody opposed? Thank you very much.
Thanks for doing that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Richard and I did a project for the planning commission a few years ago, which was
See everybody.